I'm joined in the studio this morning by John Clark. Not really still this morning. Okay.
Right.
And you're running for First Ward. We've heard your name a few times. You've run for mayor a couple times, also
Right.
community activist. Why now are you running for the First Ward?
Well, actually, there are two or three reasons for that. I ran for mayor twice, basically to help move the city manager into retirement and to start the entire notion of we need to have contested elections. For years, we just had virtually uncontested elections in any of the wards. The city was pretty much locked down and just sitting. And so the effect of my first two mayoral campaigns, in particular, the first one was to suggest, boy, things could really be different. I believe Mr. Beck retired anywhere from 3 to 6 years sooner than he would have, but for my running. 2 years after I ran in 2004, we had contested ward races for the real first time in years. The next year we had them again. And I ran for mayor again, but the third and the fourth ward were heavily contested. So now this race, unfortunately, the fifth ward is not contested. So I'm running actually to keep that whole tradition going. And actually, in the summertime, when I got some idea about who might be running, and the fact that with Jerry Wade and Carl Scala elected to the council, it would and Mr. Watkins as city manager, it might finally be possible for the city council to become the governing body of the city, and actually take us in some directions and basically catch up on a huge amount of work that the city needed to have done. And by the way, not having done that work particularly negatively impacts the central city, especially north of Broadway. So that includes the first ward. So I looked at the people who were thinking about running, and some of them were nice, some of them were intelligent, but none of them had the background, and none of them had the will. None of them had the fire in the belly to change things. Obviously, at least one of them has the fire in the belly to run. That's not the same thing. But what they really didn't have was the background. You get on the council and you have not been involved in this whole range of issues that involve zoning and planning and utilities and all this kind of stuff, and actually have dealt with the city administration. You basically get to spend 3 to 4 years relearning that, and there's nobody who's a quick enough study to do that in a short enough time. The first ward needs an advocate, an effective advocate, an effective representative for its various components, which are quite different. And I believe I'm the only candidate who's running. If somebody else with any kind of remote background that was comparable to mine, and in particular somebody who had a background in neighborhood associations, which are quasi-governmental bodies, I might not have run. But once I realized who was running, I said, I'm sorry, you're just not up to it.